Alrighty, you dead set legends. What is going on? As you can see, I've got one of the baddest Brazilians ready to come onto the show. But first of all, let me just thank some special people. And of course, that is my Patreon and YouTube bangers. For as little as 50 cents a week, you can help out the Aussie Arm Wrestler, and every single dollar goes back into the channel. So I thank each and every one of you that have been helping out the Aussie Arm Wrestler. Now, let's get to the man of the moment. I think officially he has had 1 billion arm wrestling matches. That's how good he is with his 25 plus years. He's a 5-time WAF champion, 8-time world champion, 40-time national champion. But I think my favorite, he is the Hello Dolly champion, and I am talking about the Phenom, Marcio Barboza. Marcio, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Jake? Awesome to be here.
Mate, it's been a long time. I'm very, very happy that you've come on the show. Very, very grateful, and everyone in the chat is up and about that you are here, including Jason Merlot is very happy. Says Aussie and Marcio, boom. Atlantis, it's like ready bang. He's very happy. Evan McGoyan's in the chat. He's saying, let's go. Got heaps of people in the chat. Alex McDonald is saying, ready bang. We'll get to your guys' questions a little bit later on. We got to talk. We got to talk to my man. How have you been, Marcio?
Not much, man. I've been busy at work. I've been resting a little bit. I got a lot of things, aches, and everything that a long career can give it to you. So I was just basically taking care of other stuff, and I just took a little time off, and I'm just start back like last week, to be honest. Just last week, start training back again, and can't wait to go and in the competition.
So last week you just started training. So give everyone an update. You injured yourself at King of the Table. We were all devastated because we were getting an active Marcio. Someone like myself was very excited. And then the injury at King of the Table. Can you give us an update on how all that's going?
Basically, it was a turkey after the East versus West 3. I got a little hurt, I've been having a lot of aches in the elbow, wrist, a lot of areas. It's too many to count. And I was pain-free. I was training super hard for that. And as you know, I don't know if you remember, but like just a week and a half, before East versus West 3, I got COVID. Also, it was terrible, but I was feeling strong, so I stopped training those 12 days before the competition. Then I did a little test to see my strength rate, after maybe 5 days before I travel. So, and I was feeling good. So I'm like, it's meant to be. So I'm probably going to do just fine. And I went and I did it, but I injured myself a little bit in that crazy match against Tobias.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. But I couldn't train. I mean, they invite me over there. King of the Table stuff, he invited me 2 months prior, but I thought he fell through. But then it was just like a month before. It was just a month before the King of the Table event. He invited me over there, same day I was competing there in Turkey. And I said, well, yes, a good opportunity. I just don't know how I'm going to be after this match, I hope everything goes fine. But, I did a successful competition there, both times. But I injured myself a little bit, and I tried to do some training and physical therapy. I tried training 3 times, and I said, I can't. I mean, level of pain, inflammation was high. So I just tried to do physical therapy, and that's how my preparation was, for Irakli. I don't take anything, from Irakli. He's a great guy, super strong. I mean, he's better than people think. I just thought just by doing maybe physical therapy will be enough, but no, the guy is on the rise, so I have to be 100% for sure, to be able to stop him and then just make a good match.
Yeah.
But just wasn't my day. I couldn't avoid, and going to Dubai also. I lost my flight. I was supposed to get there 4 days prior, and then I got there 2 days prior. I mean, to me, I have to be at least like 3 days because in jet lag and everything. I was not feeling. I don't want to make excuses, but I already started making, so I don't want to
Mate,
continue.
no, it's
A lot of
it's more getting an insight. But for someone that's been around the game as long as you have, it's definitely not coming across as making excuses. You have had your set ways. You have become world champion in multiple organizations. So yeah, if you need 4 days, 3 or 4 days before an event with jet lag and everything, that's just not making excuses. That's the Marcio Barboza way. So it's good that you're back training. It's good that you're back on the table. When do we think we will see you in another super match?
It depends. It depends. I'm feeling okay. You just need to get better in shape. As you get older, it takes more time. I think I will need like 3 months, 4 months, just to be able to feel everything in place. Still, sometimes it hurts here and there. I don't think you're doing steam cells like most of the top guys are doing. I see Devin, Michael. I'm not sure if the Zinc will do it, but a lot of people are trying those things. When you get so many miles on your arms, I think Inga Derby was doing or did. Um, you just gotta take care of yourself, and if you want to still compete at that level. So my, you know, I always wanted to compete at a high level. I don't see myself competing in just the local things, and
Yeah.
then it'll be time to reshoot. So
Would you go back and
it's on the plan.
slap 17-year-old Marcio? Would you go back in time and slap him and say, mate, don't do this arm wrestling thing?
No, I don't regret anything. It's just experience. There's no price in experience. Like you learn, you live and you learn, like everything else in life.
Oh, absolutely. So why at 17? What attracted Marcio at 17 years old to go, right, I'm going to give this arm wrestling thing a go?
At 17, I always, arm wrestling is something fun that you always do when you're a kid. I used to arm wrestle with my mom, my dad. They're pretty strong. And you know, my friends at school, I don't remember losing to my friends, even though I was, when I was young. But a friend, a very close friend, one of my best friends, started doing this arm wrestling thing when I was 16, and he invited me to watch him competing at the state tournament. And then he said he was training and doing this and that. I'm like, okay, he was a lightweight. I mean, he was lighter than me. I was a lightweight at 17. I was, 170. He was more like a one. I don't know, maybe a 130 something, 135. So he was competing at the flyweight, let's say. And I went over there and he took second, and then he was so happy. Then he asked me to practice with him, like a few weeks later. Then he couldn't beat me. Then he brought some other people that compete at the state, like they're like about my weight, and he couldn't beat me. But in a regular, not in an arm wrestling table, at a dinner table or something. I remember we cracked the table. Oh my God, we cracked the table, me and a bunch of other guys, and none of them could beat me in a in a dinner table. Then they brought me to an arm wrestling table. Then I see there was a lot of technique involved, and I just got hooked, right away. And I went to I remember going to a juniors tournament, and it was very popular. It's like maybe 20, 25 people per class back then, even in juniors in Brazil. And I think I took fifth place without knowing what I was doing. But I remember
Yeah.
one guy just maybe making fun of me or something, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take this thing serious. And I just started training at home. You know, my goal is to you know get better as soon as possible. I pulled the guy who won that state tournament, and he just played with me, but just because I didn't know what I was doing like a straight arm thing without locking anything. I didn't know it was top rolling or hooking. I was just going straight like an amateur, like a very novice guy. So a month later, just a month later, I started doing pull-ups. I watch over the top, and I remember Stallone grabbing in the front of his truck and just opened his arm and bringing his arm back. I got a rope on my wrist, and I was doing that, for back pressure. I was getting a 4x4 wood post, and I was doing, bicep, forearms, everything. And I was doing a lot of pull-ups. And my friend just came to see me like a month later, and I think my bicep grew something crazy, like I don't know, maybe 3, 4 inches, you know, a lot
Oh,
because I stimulate them. But I was doing every single day, and then he said, "Oh my God, you look so strong." But then he brought me to practice a couple of days. I took a couple of days off. I was doing like for 30 days every single day. So he brought me to practice with some of the guys. Some of the guys were champion, and they couldn't touch me. And then starts my career. The first ever open tournament. I never competed in novice or amateur. First important tournament. Six guys who placed like fifth and sixth place in words. I beat them all like in my first state tournament. That was just months. Yeah. So that's how we came the Phenom, the nickname Phenom.
but mate,
I
definitely
beat a
a
lot
phenom.
of all the good guys. In my first year, I only lost the nationals to a guy. Rest in peace. He's not with us anymore. A guy who was a legend there. He took I think fourth place at Worlds. I don't Brazilian guy, so he's not with us, like I said. But it was the only thing. But I lost, I gave him cramps and everything. He had to go to the hospital after a match, and I took second. And let's say a couple months later, he couldn't beat me anymore. And I won overall national. Like there was like a national, and I was competing in 165. I have a 170 dropped into 165, something like that. And then I was the overall champion, beating guys like I was 165, 242 guys, super heavyweight guys, 198-pound guys, national champions. I beat them all in basically my first year.
your, first, your first year, you're beating everyone. Oh my god, that's yeah, and hence why they call you the phenom, mate. When it comes to being a world champion, we hear that a lot in arm wrestling, but only a select few. Not only become world champion, but become multiple time world champion. You've done it so many times. Can you let everyone know what is that feeling like when they say Marcio Barboza, world champion?
Wow, it's something unique, I think, for you know, like you can do if you can be the best at what you love. It's an amazing feeling. Like I remember my first WAF. It was like maybe a few years later. Maybe four. Let me think. Like 4 years later since I started. Then I moved in classes. I was 187, like 85 kilos. And it was my first experience in WAF. Actually, the same year, I was only maybe 4 years in sport. I came to New York to compete at you remember the Yukon Jack?
Yeah.
Just to gain experience. Like I had a sponsor, so I competed in a middleweight class. I was 185 pounds only, and I competed. Yukon Jack was in kilos. Yukon Jack was 75 kilos, 90 kilos, and over. I was about 85 kilos or less. I compete. I don't remember. I probably end up top 10 or something. John Brasink won. Bill Brasink second. Lee from England. I don't remember. Third. Then Bob Barafuco, Johnny Walker, all legends over there. All the best was in that tournament in New York, in that Yukon Jack. All the Europeans, the best from there, from Georgia, from Russia, from, everywhere. All great guys. And back then, North America was a dominate force, All finals were North American. All finals. And that was my first, that was like 3 months before Worlds that was going to be held in Brazil. So, when the Worlds came, it was just for me to get experience. I knew it was tougher than Worlds, actually. That's what they were calling, the best tournament in the world. And then at the WAF, I took first in my first appearance.
So whatever, just roll up, waff. Yeah, cool. Name's Marcio. Just give us the first place. I'm just the best. That's so good. That is so good.
Tough. Yeah, 1995, long time ago.
1995. Wow, I was in grade 5.
Yeah.
You got one.
I have miles, man.
You got one of your biggest fans in the chat, Adam Hasty. He's a huge Marcio Barboza fan. And he just says, "G'day, Marcio, huge fan." Got heaps of people in the chat. They're so excited to see you in here. Todd and Oleg's love child. He doesn't mind trolling my channel, but he does love Marcio. So we'll give him a shout out. He says, I love Marcio. We need more Marcio. Todd and Oleg's love child. You and I finally agree on something. Absolutely. Thank you very much for your super chat. Now, you've won all these magnificent things. My favorite thing is probably the Hello Dolly champion. Now, for those that don't know, our good man here, Marcio Barboza, was on the David Letterman show, and he ended up pinning John Brasink and Travis Bajan. And I think not only did you win, but they kept butchering your name. David Letterman couldn't say your last name properly.
He couldn't say none of the last names properly. It was funny.
It was a fun. All wrong. It was Marcio Barboza, John Berzink or something like that. He couldn't even get Travis Bajan's last name.
Yeah, he had some trouble.
What was that like, mate?
Say again?
What was being on the David Letterman show like?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I was not too long. I was only I think I was a couple of years in America. I think it's 2003. Yeah, 2 years living in America, basically. It was. I didn't know how big it was to be there. Like, it was the biggest show, night show in the US back then. It was great. We spent the whole day there. I got invited one day before. I was working, and then Dave DeVoto invited me. Then I'm like, "Do you like to come?" He explained everything. I was like, "It's tomorrow?" Like, "Yeah, it's tomorrow." Just okay, I'll go. I asked for off day at the company, and they give me a green signal. So I went there. I live in New Jersey. It's close. 20 minutes, half an hour from there. So we all spend the whole day there. I remember Silva Matosin was there too, from Pulling John, and with Bessie and some other guys.
It was for those that haven't seen it, please go check Marcio. It's just funny. You've got all these legends of the sport, and it just shows sometimes we get a reality check of where arm wrestling is really at in the world, where David Letterman not only can't get your name right, but he couldn't get anyone's names right. And it's just that reality kick in the guts. You know, we're like, oh, arm wrestling's so big and it's becoming popular and we love it. Oh, yep, cool. We're going on the David Letterman show, and he doesn't even take the time to get your names right.
That's right.
And it's just like, damn, like this dude's like world champion. He's battering everyone. And then you beat John and Travis on the show. That was hilarious. Speaking of pinning, probably like there's not enough time to talk about all your career. So we're going to jump all over the shop because your career is second to none. I think a huge achievement, not only winning on the David Letterman show, but you know, there was a bit of a council that got together and they named you as one of the 50 greatest arm wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
How does that feel, mate? Like, you have been around so long and you know the thousands, the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands of arm wrestlers, and whoever this committee was, whoever made this up, sat there and went, you know what? The Phenom's got to be in there with all the greats.
It was great. It was a bunch of great people, like experts of the sport. You know, they decided to do that. I was just glad to be part of it. You know, to be remembered as one of the best, and motivate me also to keep doing it. You know, I think it was done like over a decade ago, maybe something like that. And when it was actually time for me to stop, you know, and try to retire and everything, and I kept pushing. I'm still here.
Mate,
after all this.
And everyone's just saying awesome things about you in the chat. It says, you know, Jason Merlot saying Marcio is definitely one of the most versatile pullers out there. He can pull anywhere on the table and in any position. I mean, it is so true. If although the consistency probably wasn't where you would like it, but I think one of your most decorated years was from the WAL years. I mean, I think you're the first one to ever win a hammer in 2015. You ended up beating 2014. You beat Devon on the right arm in a best of three. What was that like? What kind of experience was that? Because you were there from the start of the WAL to the end of the WAL. What was that experience like? And we'll go through a couple of the matches a bit later.
It was a very nice experience. I remember when WAL, you know, was start, you know, kicking it, you know, nice events, you know, with good prize monies, and I was still in contract with the UAL, you know, and then I was just trying to get off of the contract because it was better for an athlete. I mean, the WAL, you know, they're giving you more chance, and you know, you can make, you know, a little money there. So it was great. So it was my first experience was in 2004. By the end of 2014, Atlantic City, I ended up pulling Devon in the final both times again. I mean, it was the first time in a long time. We had pulled before, but it was in a long time. Not at the same weight class, so it was a great match both times. I beat him, I think 2-0 on the right, and I lost 2-1 on the left.
Yeah.
So, and then qualified for the finals, beginning of 2015, we pull for the title. I mean, they qualify, I think, 18 people in each class, the best of the qualifiers, or maybe it was a little. And we end up doing the finals again. That was no John Brozink or Ron Bass. They were at the same weight and pretty good, but they came right after that one to the next one.
I mean, in 2015, you lost to John in the final. Can you just give everyone an indication if you can, of just how strong and how versatile pulling John Brzenk is. And you've had pins on John Brzenk.
John Brzenk is for sure the best to ever do it. I mean, I have no doubts in my mind. He's the great of all time. I'm a fan of the guy. I always watch him pull. To me, it was one of the highlights of East versus West 5 again. And it's amazing at 58 he's still doing that great. But yes, that final, like 2014, the final was actually, it was supposed to be in December 2014, so the final was actually in 2015. But it was for the 2014, title. So that one I beat Devin on the right, Lewis on the left. Then at the same year, by middle of the year, we had a 2015 season, it was the hardest one, and I ended up taking second to John. Of course, I was close. I mean, I had a crazy match with Ron Best, one of the best matches I think we had. Like crazy match before. Honestly, I was really strong in 2015, but after that match, it took so long that I was drained. And if you pull John Brzenk, unless he's tired, his hand and wrist are like iron. It just, I couldn't hold it. Like I remember asking him to go straight on a hook. He said no. He said I can't play with it. He was like no. Because we had some super matches before, and I remember him asking me to go on a hook, straight on a hook in some other matches, some other leagues, like UAL, like let's go straight on a hook. and then I see if he does the same. But no, I was really strong on the hook that year. But I was toast. The reality, I was trying to play a little bit with his head, but I was toast after my match with Brown Bass. And he had with Devin, but he had one long match and he let it go. When he saw that he couldn't win, he let it go, and then he had 2 quick wins. I have 3 battles that restart like 4 or 5 times. So it was to me, it feels like I had 10 rounds with Brown Bass. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think anyone that has followed your career, you can't have a quick match. I think it's against the law from where you're from. There's never any flash pins. You always have to be in battles. You always have to be in wars. I think that's just the Marcio motto.
When I was younger, I was way more explosive. I have quick pings on a lot of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As we get older,
we've got a massive super chat from our good friend of the show, very good friend of mine, Marcus Thompson. Thank you so much for your support, Marcus. And he says, Marcio is a true arm god for arm gods next year. A gentleman of the sport, but killer on the table. Legend. That is something, and if I can, I'll pass your details, Marcio, to Marcus. He's organising big things in Ireland, really making another super match series, another important player in the world of arm wrestling. So if you want to be a part of Arm Gods, I know you can't pull in January because you're still recovering, but Marcus is the man. He's becoming a big time player in the world of arm wrestling.
That's really nice.
So you need to get we need to get you two in contact with each other, which is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marcus. Phil Woody has jumped in. He says, I had the pleasure of meeting Marcio at East versus West 3, where he put on a perfect performance right and left for Team West. Great team supporter, an absolute gentleman. He still owes me a bottle of water, though. Go, Marcio. What have you done to my mate Phil? Why do you owe him a bottle of water?
I can't remember anything.
Oh, you've got to.
But I'll gladly pay. Another one when I was using on the next one.
Tom is just saying Marcio is an effing legend. Mate, everyone's just Backspace is saying Marcio is a straight up legend. Now, with the going back to pulling John, I don't know why this intrigues me. Probably because I'm an idiot, Marcio. But there's this one good match with you and John, and you're both wearing light blue polo t-shirts.
Blue t-shirts. I don't know.
Light blue polo t-shirts. Why?
It was in Connecticut, USA. It was a professional tournament. It was held by John Bergenson. He had a professional arm wrestling federation, if I'm not mistaken. It was some kind of a word competition in US. He hosted for, let me think about it. It was 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007. He hosted for like 5 years. A lot of Europeans, were coming every year. I remember pulling a lot of the Europeans like Farid Usmanov. He was Ferito Osmanli. He became a Turkish citizen. He was back in Farid Usmanov. He was the world champion. Pascal Girard, Svetan Gachevsky, Ingan Terzi, so many guys that I can't remember their names, but some super heavyweight world champion, August Mitchell, I believe his name is. A lot of people from Europe were coming to this tournament.
Mohegan Sun tournament.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last couple was held in Mohegan Sun. The previous one was held in Vegas.
Mate, we just need more. We just need more arm wrestling tournaments, more arm wrestling suit matches, and more Marcio Barboza. That's all we need, and then I think the world will definitely be happy. Going back to your WAL days, I mean, although after winning the very first Hammer, the consistency when it moved into a super match series, it probably didn't go your way. I mean, you had losses. How would you say it? Awesome losses, because your battles against Matt Mask, your battles against Michael Todd, Todd Hutchings were all incredible, but you just didn't end up winning. What was the what was the feeling? Because I noticed from some of your wins and some of your pins, but the passion you showed against Krasimir Kostadinov, you were screaming, you jumped on the table. What was, if you can remember, what was going through you after you got that incredible win over Krasimir at 5:03, I believe?
Well, first of all, like when he became like a super match series, I knew that they told me it wasn't gonna be any 225 pounds anymore, 102 kilos. So it's gonna be, lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. So there's no more light heavyweight, just heavyweight. So I'm like, okay. And I tried to gain weight. It was a mistake. I feel bloated, not too good. I mean, Matt Mask, I was super strong, but I didn't work out my hand properly. I didn't have the good technique with him. I mean, my arm strength was amazingly strong. Then I remember with Michael Todd, not a good preparation either. I think it was the middle of the year, so much work. Not excuses. I think he'll beat me anyways. Against Todd, I mean, Todd is amazing. I did the wrong preparation also because I had vacation. Like from vacation, I went to full Todd. I was on vacation with my family. Everything was planned before. I mean, I'm not gonna change anything, about my personal life. It's just the way it goes, But no, I'm not saying like if it was different, I would beat him, but I know my capabilities, and so my next match was it was set. Whoever they were setting me the next match. I was gonna do my best. Like my kids crying, I brought my whole family the last one, and there was a little bit of emotional things, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna do it right. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna train my butt off for the next match. Whoever they put in front of me, I mean, I'm gonna really go hard on this thing. So I start training, and uh, after my defeat to Todd, like I started training the next follow month. I think it was November. It was by the end of the year, December. So I trained. I trained the whole year, 2019, beginning of 2019, like March. I won the Arnold's, and it was a good class with like almost 30 guys in the class, and I pulled super heavyweight. Those guys like Don Underwood, Corey West, uh, some guys from Europe, like a lot of guys. Like it was a good, very good class. The best class was the super heavies. So I pulled that. I won with ease. So I knew I was in good shape. And 3 months later, I was offered to a match with Krause. So I trained really hard. I was very strong. I almost overtrained if that's possible. So I wanted to make sure I was in the best shape possible. Uh, and I did what I did. I mean, I think Krause was in good shape too. He was just expecting to win in the stamina because we're mostly close in weight. I believe it's more fair. Even though I thought he was going to show up a little bigger, he showed up a little smaller than I thought, but he still was pretty good. You know, and I had experience pulling him before, like 2 years prior, and and it was a close match. So I'm like, okay, if I pull him in any super match, it was not a super match, it was in a tournament. I ended up losing by fouls, and I was like, okay, if I pull him in a super match, I got a shot. You know, so I was confident going, not knowing, I mean, knowing that's not, it wasn't gonna be easy, but I like my chances, and he ended up my way. Super happy after that.
Very super happy. There's that great photo with you with your arm up in the air. Then I thought you were going to fall off the table because you jumped up on the table and you were giving it the big licks. It was. I was just noticing the different reaction from that win opposed to other wins. That was, you've won world championships, you've won hammers, but there was just something I found unique about that win that I was really drawn to, because he was like, wow, that just looked like a lot of relief and a lot of belief coming back into you to say, hey, I'm still hanging with all the top guys.
It's like when you put effort into something, like you ever heard like hard work pays off. That's how it felt. I mean, I just put so much into it, and the win explosion, like it's worth it. Like I put a lot into it. I took the time to train really hard, and that's the happiness of the result. Everything worked it out perfectly.
Yeah. So then fast forwarding to East versus West, what enticed you to come back to the main stage? Because there was the few years off, and we hadn't seen too much of Marcio Barboza on the world stage. So what was it that enticed you back to pull a left-hand and right-handed match at East versus West?
I got invited by England Thursday. He always, invite me for events. A few times they invite me before I was injured. Like he invited me. It was funny. He invited me, I think, for the East versus West too, but I got COVID like a
That's
little bit
right. You're
before,
supposed to pull
and
Barboza.
yeah, I got COVID both times that I got invited by him. So the first time it was close. It was like maybe it was the same amount of time, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a week before, and now
Oh,
maybe a little more. I think it was 2.5 weeks before, and I was going, and I was on it was the end of the year, and I was going with my family to Florida, I believe, and I was driving sick. I didn't even know, like, I was coughing a lot, and I'm like, I and I had a lot of body pain, but I thought it was because I had so much work that week and the day before carrying metal, it was tough. So I thought like it was nothing, but then I didn't know what it was to be honest. The next day we spent the New Year's there, and the next day I was feeling weird, like a little bit of uh, a little fever and everything. And I remember no, I'm not. I don't know if I'm thinking right, but it was actually, and then when I came back, I was just one day in bad shape, but I didn't feel the same. Like I feel weaker. I didn't feel good. Then I have to call. I called England. I think it was 3 weeks before his event.
Oh,
I think it was near to February. So I canceled that one because I wasn't feeling right and I couldn't continue training. I had to rest for like a month. I didn't feel bad to go to work, but the training I felt like a lack of endurance, resistance. Like my body was shot a little bit, and it took me a while though, almost like a month. The second time, I mean, and then I had to cancel, right? Then the second time I got invited to go, like I was explaining before, just a week and a half before, I think it was 12 days before, I just felt like a little, I was coming down with the cold, but I'm like, let me do it just to see, and it was positive for COVID. I'm like, again. Then
uh,
I told England, let me see, like I don't feel. He asked me, how do you feel? I was like, I don't feel like the first time. The first time I felt really weak. My body was shot. This time I'm not feeling anything. It's just a little cold. Like I feel like it's a little cold, but I tested positive, so let's see what happens. And like, yeah, let me know. And I only knew that I was gonna travel the day of because that's the day you do the 1 day before actually. They do
yeah.
the PCR test, and it came out negative. I mean, I was the result was like few hours before my trip,
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, oh, okay, so if it's negative, it's because I'm supposed to go. No, no, actually, for Turkey, you only need a rapid test. So
Okay.
like that, I'm not sure if it was gonna be still. It was not like nobody can get from you, but still because this day is like 5 6 days, it's out of your system. Not out of your system, but it cannot be contagious. Let's say, but it stays for a little while. So the PCR probably will stay for a couple weeks or something positive. So I was only maybe 10 days later I was doing this test, and I did a rapid test because that's all they need. So antigen test. So it was negative. I'm like, okay, thank you God, I'm supposed to go. And I did a few days before I do a little training that I can test my strength, and my strength was the same. So some lift I couldn't test with anybody. So some lifts got post when I tested post COVID 12 days before I started, and I tried to just eat well, drink, you know, and then like a week later, maybe 6 days before traveling, I did a test again to see where my strength was, and it was the same. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling good. I'm not feeling anything, bad. So I think it's gonna work, and then it worked out. I I travel. So and over there when I got there, it's funny. I think it was my first trip to Turkey. Inga couldn't pick me up at the airport. This is a little story, right? Inga couldn't pick me up at the airport, so he sent a taxi, and it was so much rain, so much traffic. It was supposed to be like 45 minutes. After like an hour and a half or 2 hours, the taxi broke in the middle of a bridge. I had to wait for another 2 hours for the next one to come because it was so much traffic. And then I was supposed to be
Oh,
there like at the
wow.
hotel like 5 o'clock. I got there like midnight that day. So it was
Oh,
a little But in the
Wow.
end, I still won.
Mate, you put on one of the matches of the night. You and Tobias Sparong went 3-2.
Yeah.
You were 2-1 down, and you still ended up taking that match, and then you smashed it 3-0 on the left arm. So it was so awesome. So awesome to see you at East versus West. But that's an awesome behind the scenes story that it took you forever and a day to get there, and you still dominated.
Yeah, it was. I was feeling good, but just a lot of things happened. And Egan even mentioned at the meeting before the event, the ceremony meeting, and then like he said, "Welcome, Marcio." Like if you guys didn't know, Marcio had COVID like 12 days ago, but it tested negative. And then I remember John was in my roommate. He was like, "Oh my God, he got COVID. I'm screwed now." And but no, he was cool. He was cool. Everything went well, and it was a great win over there. It was I was so like excited to be there and to perform well. So I was full of energy. Like I don't know, just ready.
Oh, mate, you were unreal. You were unreal. That's why I think we all got excited that we were seeing more of you. But going to King of the Table, we don't really need to go much in the Irakli match. We know what happened, and unfortunately, you sustained an injury. But what I wanted to get an insight, Marcio, was how did it feel being on the same card as Devon versus Levan, but no one was talking about your match. Only a few of us were like, oh, don't forget these matches. But the majority of people were only talking about that one match. As an athlete that was there, what did that whole Devon versus Levan experience feel like? Did it bother you that not many people were mentioning your match?
Oh, I'm very cool with that. It's no big deal. I was also excited to see that match to see, but yeah, in my mind it was like 90% like Levon's gonna win. I in my heart I want Devon to stop that match, but I knew it was almost impossible. Like when you go to reality check, I knew like if you ask me by the bottom of my heart, like my real opinion, it was just I don't think it's gonna be any good for Devon because he's super. Devon is old, unless he allows Devon. You know what I mean? I didn't know if he was gonna do that, but him before that he plans to retire with 6-0 scores every super match. I probably he's not gonna play with Devon in any circumstances. But I wish he was just don't hit so hard and just let him stop the match and then start working from there slowly. But I think he was aware of the dangers of pulling Devon, so he said he probably thought to himself like, "What about if I play one match and I got screwed?" It's his only chance because Levon is different. Besides being so strong, he's very fast. He's a because he was a light heavyweight before he became a monster. I think he was about 90 kilos when I saw pictures of him on the last, and he became this, I don't know, crazy 180 kilos monster.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting how big he is. It is ridiculous.
Just,
Do you think that there's anyone on the planet right now that could beat Levan?
no,
No.
not right.
Ah, damn it.
It's a little step, but I wish I would answer that better, but it just clear in my mind. For example, you see like Aramis Gasparini. He's great. He's awesome. I love to see him pull. Like I admire like his consistency, like getting better. But it's just he's so close to like Dave Shapey that match. I know he ended up 3-0 to Aramis, but it could have been going to either way. He was close, And at some point I saw that Dave has more side pressure, but overall Aramis is just a better puller. He need what he did what he needs to do. Rise his hands so high. Always climbing. He's smart. He's a smart puller. But with Levon, the problem is he can stop. I don't think he can stop the match today. Maybe in a year or two. I mean, he's planning on pulling Levon in about a year. So I don't know how much he can improve.
Yeah.
From now. So we'll see. I mean, I hope he improve a lot. But if it was today, like zero chances. If it's in about a year and Levon doesn't progress more,
yeah,
who knows?
That's the thing. Everyone needs 12 months, 18 months to train. But I think people are forgetting that Levon is still training. Like it is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Guys, can you get your questions in the comments if you've got any questions for my man Marcio Barboza? I'll handpick a few of them. In the meantime, anyone that comes on the show, they get to play one of arm wrestling's favorite games, Marcio. What's going to happen? So I'm going to give you the name of 3 pullers, and you have to tell me which one you're going to pin, which one you're going to lose to, and which one you are getting rid of. You're banning from arm wrestling for 12 months. They're not allowed to arm wrestle for 12 months. Are you ready?
I'm sorry, I lost a little bit. I'm lost a little bit. Can you repeat it for me?
Yeah, okay. So we're going to play a game and give you the name of 3 pullers, and out of those 3, you have to tell me which one you're going to pin, which one you're going to lose to, and which one you're going to ban for 12 months. Get rid of.
The one to which one I'm going to train for 12 months?
No. You're going to ban. Get rid of them. They're not allowed to arm wrestle for 12 months.
Oh, okay.
So you'll get a couple of goes at this because obviously you are Marcio Barboza. You might know these 3 pretty well, and that's Leo, Joshua, and Matthew. And I believe they're the names of your 3 amazing boys.
That's right.
So which one are your 3 boys are you going to pin? Which one of your 3 boys are you going to lose to? And which one of your 3 boys are you saying off the table? No, nothing for 12 months.
Okay, I'm probably gonna pin Leo. Probably gonna lose to Joshua, and I'm probably gonna Matthew. That it could be anyone. It's just a joke.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll play. But I'll give you the name of 3 actual pullers: Dave Chafee, Todd Hutchings, and John Brezink. Same scenario.
I just sent Dave already.
And so quick.
Man, I want to pin Todd Hutchings, and I'm okay to lose to John. Not to Todd Hutchings.
Everyone's okay losing to John. I was very surprised of how quick you were ready to get rid of Dave Chafee. Wow.
Yeah. But awesome. You never know.
That'd be cool. We've got a question here from Alex McDonald. He's been a member for 2 months, and he says, "Does Marcio have an opponent that he would like to pull next?"
I mean, if you ask me like East versus West, of course I learned my lesson the last time, and I'm just going from 100%. Like I don't want to have any excuse, So I really like to see if I can pull like what's his name, Sandris. Sandris is exciting me because he's a listen, I cannot choose somebody. I have to choose somebody that is in the top. So Sandri's just been doing amazing. I I admire him for being in such a short time being so good. He just achieved his WAF War title, which is
Yep.
amazing. And after seeing that, I thought maybe Matt can do some, but then I'm like, he's versatile is a different thing. Like being versatile, like uh, before they pull, I had a little, I didn't know. You never know how good is Matt because I lost count. Like just he hasn't been showing too good lately.
Yeah.
Um, it hasn't been the same. I don't know, or I don't know if that's it. So I don't know. So I thought he might have a shot, but anything that stops, it would be Sunday's because Sunday is so versatile. He can hook, he can press, he can top row, he can do anything. One thing doesn't work, he uses another. Just kind of the way I do. So it might be a good match. I don't know if it's too big for me. I don't think it's too heavy. So I'm like 108, 109. So I think he won at 110, but I think he walks around a little bit heavier. So at the regular 110 and under, I think it could be a great match. If you were talking about East versus West,
Yeah.
both of my arms are good. And in US, when I would love to have another crack of John and Todd. Those are the guys that you like to have a crack again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even
That's
though
awesome.
yeah, even though I don't like to pull John too much because I'm like a fan, but he's doing so great that I didn't want to pull him. Let's say if it was last year or beginning of the year, but or 2 years ago when it's been 2 years since he's back in the game.
Yeah,
I think it's 2 years, right?
yeah, about that. 18 months to 2 years. Yeah, since he's comeback match. Yeah.
Yeah. When he first started, somebody offered me that I'm like, because I was feeling good. I'm like, no, let me see where he goes. So now he's back at in great, great shape. I mean, he can beat anyone now.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
under
And he's
that,
showing
under
it.
that kilos, under 110 kilos, I think he can beat anyone.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I've got a couple of quick questions for you, Marcio, but you're not allowed to think. You just have to answer straight away. First thing that comes to your mind.
Hmm.
Okay. So, do you prefer super matches or tournaments?
Super matches.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the King's move?
Nope.
It's a very common answer on the show. It's a very common answer, that one. What has been your favorite promotion to pull in?
Right now, East versus West got my attention. I mean, great way to keep the legends going, and it's nice to see the East versus West thing. Like it hasn't happened so often. So England is bringing something together that amazes me. Also, King of the Table is awesome, but it's just England is doing like I don't know how you can bring 15 super matches on a card. That's insane to me. You know.
Yeah.
So he's doing a great work.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Who is your most hated opponent?
I believe John Zink.
Yeah. um, if you could change one thing in arm wrestling, what would it be?
Um, that's not an easy question. I'll tell you, tournaments like I mean, rules a little bit of the rules. The WAF because he ends up everything in fouls and stuff. I just think it's horrible for the athletes
Yeah.
that travel so long to. I mean, it should have been something to help, or in the rules. nobody end up losing unless they have an intention, you know. But something in the rules for the sake of the sport. They're doing this
Yeah.
in a super matches, so it's great. But they can also do a little bit better. But the rules in general.
No, fair enough. Yeah, that's always an interesting discussion point. Ronnie wants to know: does Marcio want a rematch with Irakli?
I would love to.
Yeah, I think a lot of us would love to see that one. My question for you, Marcio, is: can we still be friends when Australia beats Brazil in the World Cup final?
Of course, especially because it
Yes.
won't happen.
Yeah. There was the jab. I was waiting for that.
uh,
Are you a huge
Australia,
huge are you a huge
of
football
soccer,
fan?
fan of soccer. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I used to
awesome.
play when I was younger. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I absolutely love it as well. Guys, we've got a couple more minutes. Have you got any questions for the legend himself, the Phenom, Marcio Barboza? If you haven't got any questions, then we will wrap up the show. Everyone's now teasing me, Marcio. They're like, come off it, Aussie. There's no way Australia's beating Brazil. Marcus Thompson saying, Jake, way down under with that one. Backspace is like, it won't happen. WTF. Look, I'm a big dreamer. I'm just happy Australia's in the World Cup. So I'm a big, big dreamer. A question here from Alex McDonald says, what does Marcio think of Paul Lynn versus Rustam Babayev?
Very match. I mean, it'll be definitely the biggest test, the biggest match of Poland's life for sure, 100%. Rustam Babayev is a legend of the sport. He's one of the best of all time, probably the best, you know, of all time, along with Zoloev. I think Rustam is actually more dangerous than Zoloev because he seems to have more wrist, like his hand and wrist are stronger. It looks like the arm strength are very close. They're and also Rustam is more explosive, so it'd be very interesting to see if Paul can handle that. I think Pauling it's on a tear, like he's looking much better every time I see him pulling, and I'm friends with him, and I would love to see him winning that match. But I think Rustam will be the favorite for sure. I heard he hasn't been training 2 years. He's just started training. So he'll be like maybe 3 months training if everything's true.
Yeah,
So
he's moved
that will make
to the
me think
UK.
it.
He's in the
Yeah,
UK
it
now.
is.
Club Torture getting stronger and stronger with Paul
Uh
Maiden
huh.
and the crew over there.
Okay. Yeah, we can have some feedback from those guys, to see how good he is right now. But Rustan is off the hook. If he's 100%, it's just he's gonna be here, a big time favorite in this match because he's so explosive. Guys don't understand how explosive he is. You remember Todd Hutchings pulling him? He couldn't even. He only, his reaction was with his, you know, wrist touching the pad every single match. So it's, you know, but who knows? We don't know what kind of shape people are. It's a that was years ago, so it should be interesting.
Well,
It's interesting to everybody that loves the sport.
I think the only shape that we want to see is Marcio Barboza back at 100% shape because we need you, mate. We need you back on the table, having more and more exciting matches. And if everyone in the comments section can please thank our special guest today, Marcio Barboza. Marcio, I cannot thank you enough for your time hanging out with me. I really appreciate it.
No problem. It was a pleasure to be here, Anytime, my friend.
Thank you.